You are now listening to episode 16 of the Focus and Bloom podcast.
Hola everyone, or better yet, bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to another episode of the Focus and Bloom podcast. I'm your host, Yesenia Bocanegra. I'm a photographer turned marketing strategist and now podcaster. And if this is the first time that you're here, let me tell you what we're all about. The Focus and Bloom podcast is a business and lifestyle podcast for creative souls and dream makers. Each week, I share actionable tips to help you grow and up-level your business. Joining us today is Nancy Renaud. As the survivor of multiple traumas in childhood and in her 20s, Nancy learned the hard way to rebuild her self-esteem, love, respect, and image through all therapies and self-help available. Although much of it was hardship, it galvanized her drive to bring more light into people's life. While completing her postgraduate studies at Duke University, she took up sociology, anthropology, and psychoanalysis. This and her extensive personal research led her to put together the film program she calls Inner Beauty Styling.
Welcome to the Focus and Bloom podcast, a business and lifestyle podcast for creative souls and dream makers. Each week, we'll talk about how to build your brand and tackle work-life balance with purpose and joy, one action at a time. Here's your host, Yesenia Bocanegra.
Nancy, how are you?
Hello, or should I say bonjour as well?
Bonjour. Nancy's actually from Paris, right?
Yes.
The beautiful city of light, my favorite. Well, Nancy, thank you for being a part of today's episode. I'm super excited. I've known you for a couple of years now, and it's funny how we met. Well, I was actually in San Francisco working on a homework assignment during my master's program in photography. And, serendipity brought us together, and here we are.
It's wonderful, and thank you for having me today.
Well, before we start talking about today's episode on harmony and all that good stuff, can you tell us a little bit more about you? I hear that you call yourself the peacock whisperer. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the peacocks, it's the animal that really calms me down. Like when I used to live in Paris, if I had a moment of stress, I would go walk 10 minutes to that lake nearby, and there's like a little island on around that lake. There's like a little island in the center where peacocks are free, and there are white peacocks, colorful peacocks, and I just go there and walk, and when they're surrounding me, suddenly I feel like I'm grounding. So I love it.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that. All right. And like what's, we're currently living in this very much weird moment in all of our lives. Can you tell me what is your new normal?
Okay, I don't know if we can call this normal, but yes, this stay-at-home time has been a bit complicated, especially since, as you know now, that I am French. My husband is actually still in France, and because of the travel ban, he was not able to join me to come visit me for 2 weeks on April 1st, so I was very sad. So at first, the stay-at-home time was really difficult. But with the beauty of this tool that we call internet, I have found a wonderful tool where it's like a land of possibilities. And here we are today, being able to talk, even though we're not together in the same room.
That is so true. That is so true. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, let's go ahead and jump into today's talk, which is on how you can find harmony. So how does that sound?
Very, very fine.
Okay. Okay. So you call yourself an inner beauty stylist. So can you tell us about what exactly is inner beauty styling?
So inner beauty styling is tailored to help you find that inner spark, inner light, that inner potential that I call inner beauty.
So who can benefit from inner beauty styling?
My Typical client can be any man or woman between 40 or 55, even though I've had this year very young clients, like 20, 21. So yes, that was very young. And I also have had clients that were over 72. So, it's never too late to try to make a change and access that inner self. And what they have in common is a certain degree of stability in their life, financial, career, life, love life, but they want more. Or the other part could be they are at a turning point in their life and they need help figuring out the next step. So whatever you feel is missing, I just help you figure it out, uncover it from within, unveil it, and to bring it into the light. I don't actually make anything up. I'm the guide that brings you into the light of yourself.
I think I love that. And I think that's actually quite relevant, especially right now, because we are stuck home. So there's not much we can do heading outside to be safe. And it's sort of forcing us to both literally stay at home, stay inside, but then it's offering us an opportunity to dig deeper within us on the figurative way and like really figure out what's inside so that once we all get through this, then there's just something new that can flourish, right?
Yes. And actually, that's one of the things that I find can be positive in this very difficult time, is that I find that there's this beautiful aspect of how time and space have stretched and how we have really turned things around and brought them back to what is the essence. And my business is really about that essence of life with a capital L. One only truly lives and feels fulfilled when they are themselves fully. So last week, I published a short video to share how I create harmony in facial features through the eyebrow shape. And like in clothing or makeup, harmony is found in proportions. But when speaking of harmony in the inner beauty perspective, it's even subtler. It's a matter of reconnecting, or for many, I should say, creating connection for the first time with the inner self. Your inner voice that may have been trying to speak to you through your body aches and sometimes even diseases, because it's dis-ease and your body is really trying to speak to you. So it doesn't have to be this way. Once we start listening to that subtle language your body is trying to speak to you, there isn't any need for your body to scream any longer. And of course, this doesn't change in a snap of the fingers. It is a layered work, but with me, you learn how to identify and transform those patterns.
I like that you're talking about how everything is like very much customized, because we are each in a very individual journey. We are in a very different stage in our life. And there's this phrase called beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but what is beautiful to one person could be different to somebody else. And that's just in the physical aspect of things. But when you think about it inside, then, what is it that's beautiful within your life? What are you seeing that is beautiful within you? Is it the way that you're reacting to people, the way that you express yourself, the way that you connect with people, that energy that you emanate when you are interacting with others? I agree with you. And there's definitely different levels on that you can explore, right?
Definitely. And that's why I like to go back to the essence of things, because beauty, in my definition of it, is really authenticity. Whatever that is actually you. Whenever you are yourself is when you show up, is when you actually, like the peacock, show your feathers, your beauty. When you show up, that's all that's needed for you to be beautiful. It's just to show up. It's when we hide behind masks, and that's where the layers are. In my mind, the layers are actually layers of masks, which can be from education and conditioning, and it can be clothing. It can be so many layers. We're not going to get into the details right now, but that's exactly it. Yeah.
Okay, so as it relates to inner beauty, do you have any specific tips for us on how we can create harmony in our lives?
So today I wanted to give you a small experiment, and it's really funny because right before when you gave us how you visualized, the example you gave is exactly when you said the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. That's really interesting because with the experiment I'm going to give you right now, you're going to be able to see a different aspect of this. So that's going to be pretty cool. So before I give you those 3 tips on how to find harmony, let's make a small experiment. It is perfect for when you are stuck at home like we are all right now. It will only take a couple minutes. All you need is a mirror and some lighting, because of course, if it's in the dark, you won't see anything. And all you have to do is look at your face for a good minute. So you look at yourself in the mirror, and after a minute, now place one hand or a sheet of paper to cover one side of your face. And then you do the same on the other side. What did you notice? Now that you're more aware of your face, do you notice how your complexion started changing already? Because actually, when you bring your attention to something, you change it.
Yes.
So when you say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, that really is the case. Whatever you look at changes. Like you have an impact on when you bring your attention, and it's also an intention on something, you transform it. So that's why, however we look at things, whether it's in your mind's eye, the way you think of things, whatever you do, you can impact that thing you're thinking about. That's why it's really important to carefully choose our thoughts. So that was the first experiment. And colors, lines on your face, everything can start changing. So when you look at yourself in the mirror right now, imagine how you can influence so many other kinds of changes.
I love that. And if you're listening to this while you're getting ready in the morning, because I typically listen to podcasts as I'm getting ready in the morning, I would suggest you do that.
And this experiment was for you to understand how everything is a matter of perspective and intention. Your moods, your thoughts, and intentions will impact how the change will occur and the direction they will take. Harmony does not reside in exact symmetry. Like you can actually see that in some movie stars that have had plastic surgery and that doesn't look right. It's very often when they try to have exact symmetry and it doesn't look right because it's symmetry in some aspects. For example, exact same eyebrows, but if they're not exactly on the same level, it doesn't look right because if one eye is slightly smaller than the other, which most people, that's how it is. You see, like the whole face arranges, it needs to be harmony, not necessarily symmetry. And so harmony is a matter of proportions, alignment, and balance. If there is more of something on one side, it may be possible to create balance by expanding the opposite side, or on the contrary, breaking with the pattern by transforming an angle into roundedness, for instance. That's what I did for eyebrows. But you can do that with a play with colors, or, you do that with clothing, with anything. It's really a matter of harmony. So what can you do today to start that inner beauty styling I've been talking about? So
Love that.
My first little tip is make a list of 30 things that bring you joy. So it can be listening to music, speaking with a friend, sorting out your house, which you probably all have doing
yes.
if you want to do with that stay-at-home time.
Yes.
But here, you don't want to just put things that are only physical. You want to have all kinds of aspects. And what I like to do is to ask that question from the perspective of each senses. So what brings joy to my ears? What brings joy to my eyes, my taste, my nose, touch? All of them, so that you make sure that you have all of you on that list. And then even maybe your sixth sense.
I love
that brings you joy. And this is really important to do. And probably after this podcast, because you're probably going to be in joy after that. So that should be a good timing to do it. Because you need to do that when you're not already in a low state. Because that tool is for when you are feeling low and need a boost. So when you're feeling low, it may be hard to think of something that brings you joy. So that's why you need to keep that list handy once you've done it. So I would advise you to do it as soon as you can and stick it to a wall so you can have it very easy, or something that you have in your pocket, but I would say on the wall. especially if you're at home right now. So you have it handy and just pick anything on that list when you're not feeling good. And also, every day, I actually set a timer. Every day, I would advise you to set a timer, an alarm, something to remind you to, and then quote it that way, do something that makes me happy. Because it's really important to have at least one thing a day. And on that list, make sure you have something that can take 5 minutes, something that can take an hour, something that can take a full day, because it depends. Some days you need very short time, and sometimes you have the whole weekend, who knows? So it can even be traveling. But this, of course, you cannot do every day.
Unfortunately. I mean, we can travel from our living room to our bedrooms, to the kitchen, to the garden. That's as much as we can do right now, probably. But I love that you're mentioning that it doesn't have to be something that's super extensive. It could be just 5 minutes, because it will make a difference. If you're doing it constantly, it's going to change your train of thought and your outlook on things.
And this, because you will bring yourself joy, creativity, all that is what helps bring your potential out. And that's what inner beauty styling is about, is to bring yourself out. So my second tip is it requires a little bit more of effort, because you're going to start observing your thoughts to repattern them. So right now, think out loud of something or in your mind, but if it's not out loud, write it down, of something you don't like about yourself, or something that you'd like to change. And that's interesting if you didn't like my first question, because it already shows that you pay attention to the words you use. Let's say the word that came, or the sentence that came to you was, I don't like my tummy. I'd like to lose weight. So here, you're giving attention to what? The focus is on weight and fat.
Correct.
And so what would you like your focus to be on instead? Maybe more lightness, harmony? So start by rephrasing your sentence. I'd like more lightness and harmony in my tummy. How does this new question sound like?
Sounds lovely. Sounds
exactly.
Like so positive. It's like lovely and like, oh, yeah, I love it.
So you see, even the question can already lift your spirit. What can you do next is to thank it, that body part, if it's a body part, or anything that you started by thinking it bothers you or it's uncomfortable or something, start by thanking it. Because if it is in your life right now, if it bothers you right now, it means that it was here in the first place to help you somehow. Maybe it was to support you. Maybe it was to protect you. Whatever the reason why that thing was there with you, it was first to help you. So thank it for the time it was useful, but then you can let it go because it was in the past. So now you can release it and let it stay in the past and clear it from the present. That's my second tip.
I love that. How it's like, we've heard Marie Kondo talk about thanking things, like cleaning, like decluttering things, and you're thanking it for what the purpose that it served. But it's really nice to think about it in a different perspective in regards to ourselves, like our bodies and how we see each other. It's a very beautiful way to see yourself and see your body and accept your body, accept yourself. And then I think that will then make room for whatever's coming new, for the new.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I was going to say. We're connected.
We are connected.
Are you ready for the third tip?
Yes, I'm ready.
So, of course, each person has his or her own journey. Like you said, we're all very unique and very different. But at the same time, we do have a lot in common, and we are actually part of a whole. We're like drops in the ocean. We're still part of the same thing, So, as a last tip, really cool, especially for entrepreneurs, let's see how you're projecting yourself and setting yourself up for success. And that tip is actually in 3 parts. The first part is every morning, that's what I do, and that's what I would advise you to do, is create a beauty routine that makes you feel good. It activates your energy and helps you radiate. Preferably use cosmetics that are respectful of your skin and, better yet, of the environment as well, so you can be in total harmony. And we didn't mention this at the beginning, but I also make my own natural line of skincare. So that's
awesome.
something that really brought me joy since 2015. And it really makes a difference when natural ingredients really boost your natural potential from your skin, your hair. When you use nature, that's when you're really one with all that's around you. I personally splash my face every morning with very cold water. So that's the first thing. This will wake you up and it's good for your skin. Second, right after I wipe my skin with a towel, I apply my eye serum, my lip serum, and massage very gently the inner and outer corners of my eyes. That's how you get your the puffiness dissolved with the ingredients, activating the eye serum does its work, but the massage, very gentle massage, really helps the puffiness to go away. The lip serum doesn't need any massage. You just use the little marble on your lips directly and they look a little bit puffier. So it's like Botox minus the side effects. I love it. And it's rose essential oil. So perfect for
lovely.
the eternal rose that you are. Anyway, and so if your skin is super dry, I can also add some face serum for extra moisturizing. And last, I apply my precious, beautifully scented moisturizer. So this ritual really automatically makes me smile because it activates my senses. I use my hands to do it. I see it in the mirror and I also smell. So I have many of my senses that are activated. So it makes me ready for the rest. Then your face is ready for makeup or just to get dressed, whatever you want to do. And here, this is my second tip. Always wear something that makes you happy. And what I mean by that is whether it is visible, like a shirt, pants, whatever you're wearing, or if it's only for yourself, like a nice pair of underwear or a piece of jewelry. Whatever, you need to have that little special something that when you choose your outfit in the morning, that's your thing. So even if you're at home right now with this stay-at-home moment, still do something, one tiny thing in the day where you feel like maybe wear a ring, wear something that you feel, this is for me. I'm doing it for me. Because of course, if you get dressed, it's maybe more when you're social, but it's really always for you first.
I want to point out, I love that you're mentioning, even as we're staying home, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about tips on how to stay productive while working from home. And one of the things that I talked about is actually getting dressed up and getting out of your pajamas, because it just, the idea of just taking a shower and getting dressed, it energizes you significantly more than just staying in your pajamas, working from your bed, and it makes you feel better. So I love that you brought that up because I think it makes a huge, huge difference. And that doesn't mean that I haven't worked on my computer, on my bed, on my pajamas, but it is a huge difference.
It is very true. And even if it's a stay-at-home outfit that is just your sexy stay-at-home outfit. Sure. And even if you're alone, like I am right now at home, I can still wear something that I'm feeling sexy in it. I'm doing it for me. I'm on a date with myself.
That's so important. It's for you. It's for you. So it will make you happy. And I think that's important for our audience to know, to realize that it's not for anybody else. It's for yourself.
For the longest time, I wished I was a smoker. It's terrible to say that, but I was like, I wish I were a smoker because then I would take 5-minute breaks. But you know what? The one thing that you can do, and that I've started doing too, is taking a 5 minutes of movement. So whether you do Pilates, because that's the thing I do, because I'm a Pilates instructor. I don't know if we mentioned that, but either it's real movement like in Pilates or something, a sports activity, or just stepping out of your house, like even just on the doorstep, just to make yourself move from the screen of your computer if you're working, or go in a different room, whatever. It shifts your energy. And sometimes just having a little bit of fresh air on your head, on your face, or maybe splash your face during the day. I don't know. But when you move, it can reset.
Absolutely. Those are great tips. I love those.
I'm glad. And now, are you ready for the last part of that third tip? Okay. So now the last part is pay attention to your posture, because it impacts your mood, your energy flow, the way you breathe, and so much more. Pilates is great to work on that. Breathing in particular. And typically clients grow an inch from working on posture with me, by the way, because Pilates is great for that, because once you start stretching your spine, you really change your posture. And you make so much space in between your vertebrae, you actually gain up to 1 inch. It's unbelievable. So let's try something now. Think of your feet in the ground, both of them, because you want them both, because if you fold your legs, you create an imbalance. And we talked about harmony and balance, so you want to have balance. So try avoiding imbalance as often as you can and reduce crossing your legs, as you may not want to visit the chiropractor too often, because that's what it does. Then it will create imbalance in your spine and your crown reaching from the sky. So you have your crown extending and you have your feet in the ground. So you feel that you're extending your spine, and this will really extend your spine and help you breathe better, digest better, and your gaze also will be aligned with the horizon. You'll show the way so more can follow. So since we are all entrepreneurs, it's perfect.
Yes.
Posture is so important.
Especially if you are presenting yourself, like whenever you are meeting a new client, whenever you are doing a public speaking type of event, you want to present yourself properly. You want to look like you're, standing up straight. It projects security. It projects confidence. When you're not standing up straight, it just doesn't look right. And you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're doing, wherever it is that you're speaking to, you want to make sure you want to project that confidence, that security, so that you give the best impression that you can.
I just love this. And also, when you connect your crown to the sky, didn't we say the sky is the limit?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
What happens is that when we're not standing straight, we're actually working against gravity. So gravity is one of the rules of life. But what we can do is either suffer from them or just work with them. So if you work with gravity, suddenly you can be very light. Or it can make it so hard on you, on your back, and it can hurt. And anyway, as soon as you start hurting somewhere, it means you're actually doing something against some of the rules. There's something.
Perfect. I remember when I was a teenager, I took some modeling classes, and one of the lessons was posture. And they had us walking with holding broomsticks on their backs, and then that immediately push your body, your chest forward, and then that would sort of force you to stand up straight. I remember that right now, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, we all have something like broom or something we can use to guide you.
Yeah, you can try with that, but then don't forget to lose the broom, because you don't want to look you actually have it still in there.
Yeah, good point taken. Point taken. I don't think it would be the best impression if you walk into a room holding a broomstick with your back. Hi, everybody. Oh, unless it's Halloween, then yeah. I love it. All right, Nancy, you've given us some really great tips, and you've even given us homework to do. So I think people will need to definitely download this episode and re-listen to it a couple of times, because we've got lots of things to try out. Can you sum it up in just a couple of points, highlight it so that we can then head on to the next portion of today's interview?
Sure. So, one, keep a daily routine that will set yourself in the mood for success. 2, stand or sit respecting your body alignment for better energy flow. 3, if feeling low, go to your happy list and pick one to shift your energy. And 4, and very last, observe your thoughts and choose your words carefully.
Beautiful. So before we wrap up our talk today, I want to do a lightning round. Here, I will ask you a few short questions, non-podcast, interviewing, no business related, just for fun. And all you need to do is answer the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I don't know.
All right, we'll see. Here goes. Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee,
What is your favorite word?
beauty,
What are you not very good at?
lying.
If you were a type of food, what type of food would you be?
Oh my God. I can picture myself, like with the filters where I'm a fruit.
Oh my gosh, I know what you're talking about.
So I guess some kind of vegetable or fruit. I don't know. Maybe a carrot because it makes you happy. So let's do that.
Okay. What sound or noise do you love?
The peacock. Leo!
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Well, my profession, my goodness, I'm already doing like 5 things in one. So what else could I do? I think I'd love to be a photographer because I love the way they take the pictures, but I don't know. I have no idea what to say here.
I think we can all relate that a lot of us are doing a lot of things.
And really, that's my passion, and I really don't regret anything that I'm doing. So
beautiful. That's good. That's really good. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I'd like to teleport myself. I want to be with my husband right now. We talk about it almost every day. So yes, teleporting. Yes, I think so. Or flying. Or as I even said, if they continue banning the traveling, I'll swim.
Okay, that's
the other side of the pond.
That would be a very good swim for sure. And finally, where can our listeners connect with you online?
So there are several means, but the first and like the hat of all of them could be Stylist. So it's OUAstylist.com. Because it's once upon a stylist. That's why there's OUA. And also when you read it in French, it's wa, like wow. Because once you start working with me, you access it's a fairy tale. Your life starts becoming what you want it to be. So that's the website. And then I have an Etsy shop where you can find it under the name Stylist as well. And there's a Facebook page and an Instagram, all under the same name.
J'adore. Merci.
De rien.
Well, thank you, Nancy, so very much for being on today's episode. I hope everybody has been inspired and has taken notes because we've got lots to work on. Thank you so very much, everybody, for tuning in. Do not forget to head on over to the Focus and Bloom Podcast Lounge so that we can continue the conversation and just network with like-minded, creative, and dream makers such as yourself. Thanks so very much. Until next time.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Focus and Bloom podcast. Check us out on Instagram at _Focus and Bloom for more business tips and inspiration. Don't forget to subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. Until next time.